Hello, welcome to Feedback. This is a show that's a fully interactive 3D experience if you're in this room. Otherwise, it's kind of a 2D
It's a little bit of a 2D
experience. Is that the
Yeah.
best way of putting it? So we're going to poke each other. Hope that you can just imagine how much fun it is if you were here to be part of that fully interactive 3D experience. Jake, you're here. How was your 4th of July?
Relaxing. Explodey.
Exploding?
Yes,
Did you?
yes.
I didn't. Where my apartment is, I couldn't see any fireworks. I could just hear them.
Oh.
If I walked outside, I could see them, but it was too hot.
It's weird running around because it's like you're in a riot.
Yeah.
If you don't know, if you don't look up and see the fireworks,
like
it's
a
like
war
you're in a
zone.
riot.
Well, then
Yeah.
we have a lot of dogs in our neighborhood, and like that's just when the howling starts.
It's
and
a miserable
just like, ooh.
time for dogs.
My neighborhood was like Beirut.
Yeah.
Steve, let's just say
Hey,
hello
I'm
to
Steve.
Steve. Hello to Steve.
Hi, everybody.
Your neighborhood was like Beirut,
Beirut.
but you do live in Beirut.
I do actually live in
a long
Beirut.
commute.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
this crazy
very
commute that
long
you do every
Exactly like
morning.
Beirut.
So, I mean, it's better than Damascus right now. So
Exactly.
I'll just throw you that. And Emily, hello.
Yes,
How was your
hello.
4th of July?
Fantastic. I was in Joshua Tree. We got some sparklers, and we got caught by the fire department.
That was a park made famous by an Irish band.
Yeah, I forget their name.
Now, let's just point out that while the album is called The Joshua Tree, there are more than one in the park,
There are
or else that would be
several.
really kind of
I counted at
deceptive.
least 5.
Yeah.
I think there were at least 5 there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Very
it's out there in
hot.
the desert.
Yeah, very
It's just
hot.
July.
Just a lot
so,
of
like, you're
July.
like, let's go to the desert. That's the cool place to
Yeah,
go.
it was like I had a few days with nothing to do. Joshua Tree, commune with some spirits, see some animals. We saw mice and snakes. I got a bone that I found in the desert. It's pretty good.
Wow.
Wow. Are you gonna fashion an arrow or some sort of?
I was trying to figure out something to do with it. It's a pretty long, and it's like bleached by the sun. It's like a classic, like, ooh, whose was this?
Is it a human femur, perhaps?
You know what? I wish. I'm hoping. I'll bring it in. We can put it up.
Yeah.
maybe next
Is there
week.
like a code scroll
Watch
on
the
or something? We start
pathologist.
an
You know,
adventure?
is gonna be like,
Oh.
hold on a second, that's a man's
Yeah, it turns out it's
bone.
just like a viral advertising for some game coming up.
be great.
Steve, I
Yes.
gather that you spent a lot of the weekend thinking about a theme song for Feedback.
I did, and I think that our theme song should go like this. Feedback! Video games!
I like that.
That's all I got. I mean,
Short and
I'm
snappy.
it's a work in progress.
I mean, it was a
Okay,
weekend.
so everyone just take
Yeah.
that, and kids at home, do your remixes,
Yeah.
or that kind of tomfoolery that
Auto-tune,
people do with
maybe
the music.
auto-tune. Yeah.
Feedback! Video games!
So not
Any kind of variation.
We are definitely in summer now. There's a handful of games that are coming out here and there. Everything is a little bit quiet out there, but thank you, Capcom,
Yeah.
for
We
doing
needed a story.
something. They had everyone all up in a tizzy. So Mercenaries 3D. This is a 3DS game, hence the 3D. Mercenaries, which means a non-narrative aspect of Resident Evil. Is it Resident Evil 5 and 4, or is it just stuff from 4?
I actually don't remember.
I can't
believe
remember
it's a
either.
combination of both. Like it's
It's
some
like
level.
challenges
mode,
and
I think
stuff
it's
like
just the
that.
mode from
In my opinion, not the game that I've been most looking forward to right now,
Yeah.
handheld or otherwise. But apparently they were making it fall onto my radar because you can't erase saves from this game. That
Ever.
once you unlock, it's unlocked.
Never.
And so you don't get to lock it up again, re-unlock it, and have a lot of fun. This kind of caught people's attention because, well, no one else really seems to be doing that out there. And what their intention was kind of strange. Capcom's first statement is, the nature of the game invites high levels of replayability in order to improve mission scores. In addition, this feature does not remove any content available for users.
They didn't really say anything.
That's
really.
the answer to the
You can
question.
keep them
No
You
one
can
asked.
non-answer.
play it as a game.
It's replayable either way. In fact, the whole point where some people want to unlock or relock everything is for the replayability that would offer to relive that sense of accomplishment of unlocking something. So, yes, obviously, everyone's like, well, that's not a statement. So they put out another statement. Essentially, Resident Evil Mercs was treated like an arcade fighting game. You unlock characters, levels, etc., and they just stay unlocked as they would in an arcade machine. Wow. There was no hidden motive to prevent buying used copies. It's not some secret form of DRM. It's simply the way we designed the save system to work with the arcade type of gameplay. Now, this is because everyone thinks that, if you try to sell it back and then someone else buys it, they don't get the unlocking pleasures. They just get the game already sort of laid out there in front of them. I have to say that I see some legitimacy in that. But here's the part that I don't get. Just they stay unlocked as they would in an arcade machine. When was this happening in arcade
Yeah,
machines?
I don't know what arcades are going to.
Number one, that never happens in arcade machines. And number two, you can reset an arcade machine.
Yeah.
even if that
Yeah.
did happen,
But
it doesn't make sense.
you're once you put your quarter in, you're beginning to unlock things until you stop putting quarters in,
That's
and
your
then the
game,
guy
as long as
behind
you
you.
have
I mean,
quarters.
unless like
I guess
it's
unless you
doing
run
the
up when
continue.
someone says continue, and then you,
I mean,
you pick up their game.
right.
Yeah,
That's
that guy, yeah.
But
I guess what where Capcom's really leaving me baffled. And let's just say Capcom is one of those companies that leaves me baffled on a frequent basis. Like getting rid of the team that worked on Okami was one of the more baffling. Was that flower, clover, clover? Clover's not a flower; it's actually
Clover
a weed.
is-
But we really like the term
very
clover
pretty.
because in 4 leaves it's good luck, and leprechauns come running around. Moving on. Is that for them? Look, this was discovered right before the game's release. If this was some interesting approach they had to how people are going to play the game, I would have felt that it would have been addressed in some sort of
yeah.
positive fashion
They
throughout
would have been
all
selling
the
that for
marketing when we
feature.
go to
For
the
sure.
Capcom events going
Absolutely.
forward.
Yeah.
This feels like a move they tried to slip in the back door, and then it blew up, and it totally backfired.
what I
in
love
their
about the
faces.
comment though is it sounds like they're saying like, no, there's nothing insidious. It's
totally
just a
fine.
bad idea. Like that's like their like that's like
made
their
a
I am
reaction.
sticking to that bad idea.
Yes,
I am
because
not
someone
backing
said
out.
that, like Capcom, or someone said that they're not going to do it again.
Yeah, they did. They said that on
It was such a great idea. We could only do it once.
Yeah.
They said they're not doing it again.
I mean, look. I remember Yu Suzuki had once, kind of ruminated on the idea of a game that, once you died, the game locked up and you couldn't go back and play it again.
Right.
Now, there's an interesting idea there because it would completely change how you play a game.
Sure.
That's not what I mean. This just doesn't have any of it, and it's just got that usual kind of strange way that Capcom handles things by not really saying anything. And if they wanted to say we're trying to prevent resale, then say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I understand the interest of these companies, this business is doing it, but come on.
I think if they'd been honest, I think people would not have been as like if they had said, "Okay, this is why we're doing it. We really don't want the resale." I think people wouldn't be as furious. It's just that we know what you're doing, and you're trying to tell us that you're
well,
not.
but
Like,
it
It's
is-
because of their explanation. It's
This,
like
Yeah,
also,
their
saying,
explanation
this
is
also
so
smacks
patronizing.
of the very ham-fisted approach that with Resident Evil 5 and the kind of questionable racial depictions inside of that game and the way that they handled that, and the fact that there were points where there were attempts to kind of restrict what people are going to be writing about the game in the review as it pertains to that, and I had to kind of get my panties all in a twist and say no, there are people out there. But it's just one of those like, hey, you just aren't making yourselves any favors. Now, this could be once again Japanese sort of PR business strategy not really working in America. It just has that like
well,
tone
let me
to
ask
it.
you this: Is this
cultural
something
thing.
that they could fix at this point? Is this at all like could they go back and change it? I don't think they will, but could they? I don't even know
For this game?
Yeah.
No.
I doubt.
Yeah. I
would guess they couldn't.
I doubt they could.
Do you think they would if they could?
Does it really matter? Probably not. I mean,
Yeah.
this is like I said, this is maybe a good game. I haven't played it myself. To take on an airplane flight, you have to already be a Resident Evil fan. I mean, we're not talking about such a massive audience. I think for this game that it's going to become this horrible problem down the line. But once again, it's just if you're doing it to keep me from reselling it, go right ahead, say it. You
Yeah.
know? Be a big boy. Put on the big boy pants.
Exactly.
Let's see what some of our readers, viewers, listeners have to say. Albry says, either I'll get a copy that's fully completed and get bored with it horribly quick, or feeling bad for taking the time to unlock things to make it not as fun for the next person who rents it after me.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the thing. It's like, this, I guess like you now want to know the game is really, really good because you do feel like, okay, I probably should hold on to this. And I don't believe any retailers have actually said they would not accept copies of this game for resale.
I think some European ones actually did.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
really?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So clearly it is having that effect. Bob the Baptist says, if you can save, you should be able to delete, plain and simple. What happens when you get a corrupt save? Does your game just F up on you? Seriously, how can you mess up something as simple as resetting a game? Second half of that question, I agree. 100%. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you really. Actually, I can't think of a Resident Evil or many Capcom games that had corrupt saves, but that's always an issue out there. I wonder if they're going to start putting stickers on it, like 0-sum experience. Once you've done it, you've done it.
You know what? I think,
Fresh.
I
Nice
think
and
that there is
fresh.
actually a small notice on the box
Really?
that says that you can't reset the unlocks, basically.
What's kind of hilarious is that none of us, we probably would not have talked about this game otherwise.
No, exactly.
And
We've
now
been
we're
going
talking
on.
about
No,
it.
you're
Lots.
right. You're
Yeah.
right. Here's
Maybe
the
it's just
scenario that
crazy
I
enough
think
to
sucks
work.
the most without the
No,
resets.
it's not.
It is a DS game. DS games tend to be the games younger kids have DSs. Not that they should be playing Resident Evil, but they do.
They do.
They also tend to have siblings, and that in swapping the cartridge back and forth, I think that if like within that family, they might like to have the exact same experience as their their other sibling out there. So I just thought of that.
Okay.
So anyway,
there you go. There's a
whatever.
pro.
All right, bye Mercenaries 3D, because I don't think we're talking about you again anymore. All right, Steve.
Yes.
Call of Duty. It's a very, very big game.
It is. I
But
hear that the kids love it.
The kids love hearing that Call of Duty.
Yes.
When they hear it, they're
said
like, they call them right back. They're doing like it's a booty Call of Duty.
Oh.
Now, the people who make Call of Duty, Activision, they may have the biggest game out there, but they need to make it bigger, and they are doing that
true.
how?
They are doing that by holding the Call of Duty XP event this September 2nd and 3rd in Los Angeles. And what it is a sort of a...
It's not Windows XP.
No, not
Okay.
It has nothing to do with Windows.
Okay, so I want to
XP,
make
from
sure.
What I
Wanna
hear.
make sure.
That's how big it's an operating system now. It's just
Put
that
it right
big.
on. Change your life.
Yeah.
Change your life.
But it is a huge BlizzCon-like affair for Call of Duty fans with contests with up to $1 million in prizes. They have they're going to have some paintball for people on recreations of the scrapyard.
Which is
map.
pretty,
That-
which is pretty rad.
That is
That's
really
pretty
cool.
amazing,
That-
yeah.
And you run through the pit. Come on.
Although, may I say, that's going to be the clearest indication of like those skills don't transfer over.
I
when
know,
you're in
it'll
that
be
You know
game.
what?
interesting.
you mean
Yeah,
the most
like,
hilarious part of the event?
I'm so good at this. I'm
Oh
so
my
good.
God.
Let's
That
get
is gonna
Jon
be the
Stewart
most
and everyone else who doesn't understand the Supreme Court ruling to come attend and just see that this correlation of doom doesn't really seem to manifest
Exactly.
itself.
I can't seem to aim properly.
It's interesting. Does playing Call of Duty for 8 hours a day make you into a trained killer? We'll find out.
Does playing
in
Guitar
September.
Hero make you slash? It does not. I think we're going to learn.
But
Yeah, I mean,
also,
does playing Child of Eden make you high? Not if you don't have anything to do with it.
It can.
I mean, it actually sounds kind of cool. To be fair, it actually makes even more sense to me than BlizzCon because there's reason for wanting to go there and actually play the very game you're celebrating. You don't actually
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
that much World of Warcraft played at BlizzCon because
yeah.
it's more of a meet and greet and check out. Some
That's
mods
what I
for
didn't.
StarCraft.
I didn't mention that the fact that you'll also be able to play the new Call of Duty game.
And I believe, and there's a
So-
tournament
Yes,
for how much?
$1 million in
Yes.
prizes. Yeah,
Tournaments always become a lot more interesting when there's $1 million on the line.
right. I don't think it's. I think that's total prizes
Yes,
$1 million,
yeah, in
but
prizes.
but still.
But like back
Somebody-
in the 60s, the $64,000 question. It's like it's not sexy.
Yeah, it's not sexy. That's an odd number. Yeah, the whole thing.
It's not even prime number. It's just
Also, Burger Town.
Burger Town. That's a
That's where
big
you
vibe.
eat burgers
yeah.
at the big Call of Duty.
I like that they threw that in there.
It sounds like
You're like, we
obviously
got so many big
And
things
that's
going
worth
on.
$150 right
guys.
there.
Hamburgers.
The
to
bathrooms
their
are going to be
credit,
great.
they have an M-rated franchise, and I think they are going to also treat this as an M-rated event, from what I
Yes.
gathered. That you have to be over the age of 18. Which I think for a lot of people that have really wanted to play this game without that 12-year-old
Yeah.
in it, this might be your best chance.
Although nailing a 12-year-old with paintballs would be so fun.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Wouldn't it be
wow.
great?
I just tase him all day long.
Yeah. You're like, that's not a regulated weapon, sir. I don't care.
I know.
That's not even in the game. What?
Sir,
You're adding.
I don't,
You're adding
where did you
cases.
come from? I'm sorry. You're not registered.
Not DLC.
And where's it being held? I think you said it, but
It is being held in a compound in Los Angeles. We don't know the specific place, but it's
trust me, I'm familiar with all the compounds here in the fair city of Angels.
hopefully
I'm a
heavily
compound
armed
connoisseur.
compound.
Hollywood Bowl. Probably
Yeah.
the Hollywood Bowl, right?
Usually you don't hear about compounds that aren't heavily
Well,
armed.
usually,
So
when
I'm
you hear
assuming-
compound, it's either Osama bin Laden or the Kennedys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah,
are the
that's
two
true.
things that precede compound.
And now Call of Duty.
Like maybe like the people in Waco were in a compound.
Oh,
You
there
hear
was
that
a
with
compound.
cults have
Too
compounds.
soon.
Oh God!
Call of Duty Waco.
Yeah.
What kind of games are they?
Let's see what someone has to say about it. Severnick says, while my interest in COD has waned over the last year and a half, I gotta say that this sounds like an awesome event. And Colin Diaz says, while Bobby is really trying hard to win over the crowd with his tactic, I love that it's Bobby Kotick wearing that
Yeah.
same sweater that he's in the trailer with, and I saw him at Dice with.
He's on a
you know,
first name basis.
like,
He's cool.
I need to. I really need to get more passion out there. What can I do? I guess you can just sense how bad it will be when Battlefield 3 runs over his little cash cow.
Ooh.
So he's making up for it by letting people play the game a few months early and charging them nearly 3 times the asking price of a single copy. You know what? I've been having some thoughts this weekend. we have the whole Battlefield 3, Modern Warfare 3 fight. And I know everyone likes the narrative that here's this other game that's going to usurp Modern Warfare 3. And I keep going back to that damn demo at E3 that bored me to tears. And it just makes me exactly wonder about, I'm more concerned about Battlefield 3 than Modern Warfare 3. And the technical proficiency of that Frostbite engine, no question about it.
Yeah, sure.
But the decision to show those tanks slowly going over the horizon could indicate that there's an attitude philosophically in how they're presenting the game that took out all the Michael Bay.
which is great.
By doing that,
Michael Bay.
I think I need to see more about Battlefield 3 before I really start doubling down again with my enthusiasm that I had after I saw the first demo back in March. Whereas that Modern Warfare 3 demo is kind of all the kitchen sink it had. I was like, okay, I'll play this because it looks kind of fun.
Yeah. But I think the thing with Battlefield, though, is that you can see how different those experiences were. You take the tank level, you take the kind of city level.
Oh, yeah.
Modern Warfare, you just can see that it's just a high. Like, I mean,
yeah,
there's obviously more to it, but like you can see what that kind of experience is gonna be like.
It's not so much that I think the entire game is slowly moving in a tank.
Right, yeah.
But in an arena like E3 to show that
being your
that might be
centerpiece,
demonstrative of a philosophy of how the game plays that leaves me with a moment that I want to actually see a little bit more before.
What do you think this Colin Diaz guy, what is he so excited about? Like, it's like people are fanatically, insanely excited about Battlefield for sure.
I think the thing is that, especially like the people who write in, who are watching the industry, look, Activision has this ogreish quality to it, and I think the idea that someone's going to beat them at what they own so well, which is Call of Duty, is really exciting. I mean, it's I don't know how many times this is what we did with the Wii. We want to do the Travolta narrative, like, look, they've rescued themselves from disaster. I'm just overimposing traditional narrative on things. I just want the one that just kind of eats its own tail the entire time. So,
well, are you guys excited? Does anybody want to go to this thing?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm totally excited. I'm totally like, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, the paintball thing to me is amazing.
I don't know if I'm going to do the paintball thing.
I'm going to watch the paintball thing.
I just somehow see my ass getting out there into the paintball arena and just everyone just shooting me in the penis. And it just,
you
well, look, here's my strategy.
You'd be a target, dude. You would be a target.
And then I would have to drive home. And that would be really, I mean, that could be really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm just like swollen and like, probably I have ass welts. So I'm not going to do the paintball.
Okay, fair enough.
But I probably will do one of those virtual versions of paintball called Call of Duty.
That's always fun.
Yes. After that description, I'm going to insist that you do the paintball because that'd be so awesome.
We'll get you padded up. We'll put you in a big padded suit. It'll
I'll
be
just
great.
all
You'll
wear
be
like
fine.
3 Depends on the outside.
It would just be amazing.
And have like a
amazing.
lead codpiece.
But you also have to wear a shirt that says Adam Sessler on it the entire time.
Hi, my
arrow
name is
that's
Adam
just down.
Or
Sessler.
like, not Adam. Oh, that's good.
I'm super excited about that.
Jake,
Yeah.
you don't need a game to be finished, do you?
Oh, do
You
any
can
of
just
us?
you
Do
can
any
just
of
take
us?
it however it is. And
Oh.
so like the amount of betas that have been released, you've been on top of that.
This is true. There have been
Beta
two
Man.
huge right now. Beta Man, I like that.
But not beta male.
No,
No.
of course not.
Alpha
or Beta
male,
Max.
beta
or
male.
beta carotene,
Any of those. No, these are games.
I got nothing.
because one of them's good for you.
Just one.
There it is. Yeah, 2 big betas are now ongoing. Uncharted 3 just went public.
That's multiplayer of Uncharted 3.
Multiplayer,
Yeah.
yep, multiplayer. And Journey, which is also multiplayer co-op,
yeah.
kind of in
And
theory.
to clarify, the Uncharted multiplayer, because right now it was only for early people that bought Infamous 2.
Now it's open to everybody.
Oh, it
Yeah,
is.
the
As
first
of
week
today.
was
You're
for
right,
Infamous.
as of today.
Yeah.
Is it co-op and multiplayer or just multiplayer?
There are some modes that are co-op.
Oh, cool.
And actually one just unlocked yesterday. That's a new co-op mode. And then other kind of multiplayer team objective free for all.
So, I mean, you've obviously played Uncharted 2 multiplayer. I mean, do you see this? I mean, is it really showing something distinct and different from what the previous game had?
I mean, I actually did not play a lot of Uncharted 2 multiplayer, but I was in it for the single player. I don't usually play multiplayer.
Yeah.
I don't usually play multiplayer or anything. That one I had fun with because I felt that no one really knew how to play it in the beginning.
That's always good. Yes,
It's
exactly.
kind of a nice ground level to get in on.
But no, I'm having a blast right now. It's the modes are fun. The traversal is actually, I mean, there's some kind of kinks. Obviously, it's a beta.
It's a beta.
But there were some moments where, like, I was being chased and I was jumping through a window and then shooting a guy and throwing a grenade and jumping off and climbing. And for a second, I was like,
That's rad.
is this Uncharted or Brink? Like I was like, it was this kind
That's
of flow,
not
which
fair.
was bizarre. And I was like, this is kind
Do
of
you
what
mean
Brink,
what Brink was
fundamentally-
going to be?
Exactly.
Right.
The
Right.
idea
What
of
we
what
thought.
Brink and in the best way possible.
And yeah, could go
yes.
either way.
So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's really fun.
yeah.
And I'm not a huge multiplayer, but it's really
Really?
Yeah,
fun.
and actually,
Well-
in the maps too, like the first part of Airstrip, which is basically like these trucks are chasing a plane that's going to take off, is like one of the craziest kind of multiplayer maps I've ever seen.
I have to say, one of the things that translates very well from the single player to the multiplayer is the animation systems, which tend to be sort of exaggerated action hero. And this is one of the best cases to be made for a third-person multiplayer experience because there just is a kind of a greater sense of visual narrative when you're
Oh,
playing
that's
this
interesting.
multiplayer.
Huh.
I felt that way definitely when I was playing co-op in Uncharted 2, where I was playing with Mr. Shark. And I guess there were a bunch of guys above me, and I was kind of sneaking along. And he was way over here sniping them. I just would watch these bodies just start falling all around me. And I was like, this is really cool. I'm really
That's so
enjoying
cool.
this. But yeah, I mean, it definitely benefits from what's really at the heart of that game, which is how wonderful it plays and looks. So,
There
Yes,
were some
yes.
problems with it initially, though, right? I know there were a lot
Well,
of.
yeah. When it went live, it basically melted
Yeah.
the entire internet. But they've been slowly patching it.
but that's been
and
happening on a
updating it, so
daily basis.
It's true.
Yeah.
Something
The
new,
internet's
really.
been
What do you
melting.
expect?
Man,
Yeah.
the internet has some problems.
Yeah. Well-
Yeah, it's a little crazy. Yeah, Fox
They built that
News.
highway.
You know what I like about the Uncharted 3 multiplayer is that so far it feels less serious than a lot of multiplayer
Yes.
feels. Like it feels like, I'm just ridiculous, having ridiculous fun in this game instead of like, oh my god, I have to get the badge, I have to not get shot, I have to
it's
like.
like-
It's like
that's so great. That's
maybe
what I
it's just
hate about
when-
multiplayer.
When
It's
Nathan
so
Drake
great.
jumps, and it's like his jump is always like, I don't know if I'm gonna make this
Yeah.
one. I don't know. And that really
Arms
does
like-
lend a certain type of like, okay, this isn't as serious. This is more of an Indiana Jones, like, oh
He'll
wow,
be
I
back.
didn't
Don't
know I
worry
could
about
do it.
him.
Plus,
And
it's
he'll
It's
get
really
his
cool
hat.
that they were
Right.
able to get that feeling in multiplayer, though. I mean, because that's hard to do, and I
Yeah.
think that's
Well,
a lot
plus,
of
I
the
mean-
barrier for a lot of people with multiplayer.
It's
is that
my
it just
barrier
feels
for
too,
sure.
Yeah, that it feels too serious and like
this
That's
is
why
not
they
what I
like-
need
want to
in
have
my
fun.
life.
They
I
added
wanna-
in like the high fives, and you can like thrust and stuff, and you can also there are
You can
perks.
thrust?
and
I'm
stuff.
sorry,
Well,
you can thrust?
There's thrust.
Oh my god, that spider
Sign
thing!
me up.
Yeah, you can.
How
there,
cool is that
yeah.
spider thing?
There are these kinds
Oh
of
my God.
you can unlock as you're playing these
I
kind
got
of
a real
bonuses.
Drake
There's one where you
fetish,
basically just
so-
turn into like a swarm of spiders and chase a guy
That's-
down.
Which is so cool.
It's really cool.
Makes absolutely no sense. But
All right, I'm gonna have to
I
do
like
that.
it.
Do you remember that old TV movie, Kingdom of the Spiders?
Vaguely.
Tarantulas, they were taking over a town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were all. No,
Were
that
they
was the one
super
with
big?
the ants where they took over the sugar factory.
Took it over like they ran it, or
Yeah, they did.
Oh, that's good.
The reason that the ants were enslaving humans was so that the humans would work in the sugar factory.
Because if you tasted sugar, it's really
they're
good.
underground salt mines. I, for one, welcome our new.
it's
I didn't
presented
get
very
to see
seriously.
That's amazing.
I didn't get to see all of it, but I caught an old 50s horror movie on TV yesterday called The Beast from Hollow Mountain. It's about two ranchers in Mexico who are having a dispute over if one of them stole the other cattle. And literally in the DirecTV, guide thing, it just says a Tyrannosaurus decides to solve a problem between two disputing cattle ranchers in Mexico.
Nice.
And I'm like, this is the best
Yeah.
idea ever.
How
I'm
could
gonna
you
watch
not
this
hit,
movie
hit play
forever.
on that
Yeah.
one? I mean, that's
Record.
amazing.
Yes. Oh, I had such
How
a
did the-
patriotic fourth.
How'd the T-Rex look? Did it look good?
I waited around, but it's one of those 50s ones where like, we'll take our sweet time getting to the good stuff.
Yeah, no, I don't like that.
And I-
Short attention
Science
span.
fiction movie.
Yeah, I just didn't
Video
have that kind of
games.
time. Well, okay, so our other beta game is Journey, which could be about as far removed
Yes.
from Uncharted in just about every other game as one can think.
yes, it could. It's yes, the new game from that game company. We've been waiting for it for a long time. It's supposed to be out hopefully by the end of the year. And this is the beta. So you've probably seen it. It's the kind of sand game is basically what everyone walks around the office. They see, oh, is that sand game? And it is. But it's
And
weird
that,
too.
it's not Spec Ops: The Line. It's
It's not.
Journey.
It's
Just
not.
want
It's
to
a
check
journey.
on that. Okay.
It's you. There's a mountain. You go to it, and that's the journey. But what's interesting is what they're doing with multiplayer, which kind of hard to explain, but we'll try. Basically, at any time, you'll be wandering through the desert, and if another person happens to be playing at that same time in that same location, you might see them. And it's only ever 2 people at a time.
Oh, okay.
But there's a chance that you never see anybody. I've played a bunch and haven't seen anybody. Played a couple times, saw a couple people. And it's wild. You'll just be wandering along, and you'll kind of see where your next objective is. You kind of see some ruins, and you're kind of walking along, and then all of a sudden you kind of see something that's moving. And because it's a desert, there's it's not mirages, but you kind of see things moving in the sand. You're not really sure if it's a person, if it's something, and then you kind of see that it actually is a person, and it's a really bizarre experience because then you run up to them and.
So it's more multiplayer for effect than for actual cooperative.
Well, there
success?
are things that kind of build in. The only communication you have is singing. So you hit a button and you could hold it down and they have.
So
bigger
given the
bits
fact
of
that
sings.
no one probably still has a PS3 headset, that is not going to affect how this
Yeah,
game plays
sure.
out.
there are no emblems. You can't change the way
You
your
can only
character
jump
looks.
and sing,
Can
right?
you-
Right, that's
Those
it.
are the
Can
only
you
two things
punch
you can do.
anyone?
You cannot
You
punch
can't
anyone.
punch
I
anyone.
know it's weird, right?
Why would you go to
Multiplayer,
the
no
desert
punching.
and punch someone?
Right. The one
Steve
person that's
Johnson.
there.
I've played a little
That's
bit
awesome.
of video games in my life, and
That's
I know
great.
that when I see a new person, step one,
First thing,
punch
step one.
them.
Punch
Punch
first, ask questions later.
How do you think my people wandered around for 40 years before finding their homeland if they were punching everybody out there?
That's why it took so long.
Hey, I came down with these commandments. Bam! That would not see. Look, the golden goat. Bam! No. Back to you, Jay.
I want to play that game. But yeah, so basically you can't. There's no kind of traditional communication for multiplayer. You just come up and you can sing and you can hang with them if you want. There's no way to tell them like go away. So you just have to kind of wander away and hopefully they don't follow you. Or it's a
And
very
what does the
strange
singing do
dynamic.
exactly? Like I don't even.
It can recharge your jumps. So basically, like over the course of the game, you collect these little fabrics that lengthen your scarf, and it kind of determines
Hold up.
how high you can jump.
This
You have
is that
scarves.
game company.
Yes.
And you know what I love
Exactly.
the most is this is probably the most coherent in terms of sort of situation and narrative. I mean, I love this company to death.
Yeah.
And it's
I think a lot
It's
of
their take on
gamers.
adventure game.
I think a lot of gamers have been waiting for a scarf lengthening game for
Yeah.
a while now.
Well, you certainly have.
only
I
one
mean,
that you can lengthen by singing. That's the only way I'm
See,
jumping.
guess who ain't darning it? All right, that's all I can say.
Finally, I can stop knitting.
Speaking of sort of games that fall a little bit outside of Gears of War, Skyrim, let's talk about some of the Summer of Arcade games. Emily?
Yes, this is maybe my favorite time. I love Summer of Arcade. I love the things that they do. There are 5 games kind of.
I
coming
love
out.
Summer of Sam. So just, you love Summer of Arcade, Summer of Sam for me.
Very
And by that I
different
meant the Spike Lee
experience.
movie.
I
No,
was going to
don't.
say.
I thought you meant the murder spree of the mid '70s.
We need another one of those, please.
Let's all say our
As
favorite
much as I
serial
will
killer.
defend Spike Lee, I can't defend that one movie.
I like that movie.
John
Really?
Leguizamo? Was that John Leguizamo in
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
Well, I remember The Talking Dog.
Oh my God.
Awesome. That movie was good. I got to
Yeah.
disagree with you, Adam. Got to disagree with you about Summer Sam. Thought it was a good movie.
Maybe my favorite serial killer movie, but not my favorite serial killer for sure.
Do
I
you
would say.
have a favorite serial?
Doesn't
killer?
everybody?
Yeah. I
What's-
mean, I'm an Ed Gein kind of guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Ed Gein
John
is-
Wayne
He's a
Gacy.
good one. He's like
Ooh.
a classic.
Good one.
Don't tell that to Michelle Bachman.
I hear you guys are from the same town.
That
Anyway,
really is my favorite flub of all time.
Yeah.
Is that
pretty
one.
good
So.
okay, so July 20th, Bastion is coming out.
Yay! I will like this, and this is Greg Kasabian's game. I was gonna say he is, as an old buddy of mine when he worked back at GameSpot. That I'm very happy to see him putting this game out. That's gotten so much wonderful acclaim. July 20th, right?
That's July 20th. And basically, that one, this calamity has occurred, and you are kind of on the shattered remains of your world, and you're trying to put it back together. And
That sounds like my mornings.
just recreating things happen. I played this one some at E3, and it was great. But apparently, the way that the story unfolds, the backstory unfolds as you're playing, is amazing. But I couldn't hear any of
Yeah,
that.
it's basically like narrating it as you're playing, and the world is building itself around as you move. So
That's
which is
amazing. Watching that is kind of
great.
amazing. A very, very original game. Kind of an amazing game. So that one's on July 20th. That one's going to be 1,200 Microsoft points.
What is that?
I don't
these
know.
Days? What do points trade for on the open market?
It's
I don't-
80.
I think it has to do with the value of the dollar and the yen.
It doesn't have to do with anything. It's absolutely the most.
It's like this crazy
random
guy with like a
playlist.
fun little gesture. When I was have 1,200 points, we live
on 895.
Yeah. It might as well just be like banana points. I don't know.
The funny thing is, his name is Ben Bernanke. But anyway, back to you.
July 27th, we have From Dust, which
This is the Ubisoft game.
That's a Ubisoft game, and that one is the one where you play God, basically, and you control lava, water, vegetation, and I think, what is it?
Sand.
And soil. Yeah.
Yes.
And basically, you kind of build, you have a tribe, and you have missions, but it's kind of a sandbox game where you can just.
But it's not really black and white.
No,
Well,
not at all.
if it has similarities to black and white, I would say.
But it's French.
It is
It
French.
is very French.
Yeah, but so is black and white. I mean,
Well, Molyneux is a
Molyneux.
Frenchish name, but you remember that Norman conquest.
okay.
Back
sure.
when we were kids,
Sure, but
Stephen, remember that?
to me, Pierre Molyneux is French. To me, he might not actually be French, but to me, he is.
And that game's supposed to be gorgeous. It's absolutely. I've only seen
It
a
is.
few
Yeah.
things out of it.
I've seen people play it.
Yeah.
And I haven't played it myself, but I've seen people play it, and I think the risk of the game is that there was some part of me that was like, wow, this is really cool, and another part of me that was like, this is boring. So So I don't know. I mean, it
It
could
does
be
seem kind of
how much
actionless.
patience do you
So
have?
I guess on July 27th, those two parts can get together
exactly,
and have a really
we'll
interesting
decide.
discourse.
Exactly.
All right.
August 3rd, we have Insanely Twisted Shadow Planet, which I played a lot.
Okay, now what is
Getting
this?
through.
I haven't heard about this one
Amazing.
as much.
This guy made these interstitials for Nickelodeon back in like the early 2000s. They never ran because they were too weird and too dark. And so he decided to make a video game out of them. He was there at E3 in front of his own game and talked to me about it for a while. And it's just this gorgeous, it kind of looks like Limbo, but not really. And it's just this gorgeous, you're a spaceship. And it's a puzzle, a side-scrolling puzzle game where you have to collect different tools for your ship and solve puzzles. And there's many different ways to solve each one.
Does it use a color palette similar to Limbo, or is it like a big, bright, colorful game?
No, it's like black and white. It's got very somber colors, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
It's got a good name.
Right.
Yeah.
Insanely Twisted Shadow Planet, you can do well.
That's cool. That's like a little under the radar kind of indie sort of underground.
That's
game.
what I
like
seek
that.
out when I go to
know,
E3.
see,
I'm
that's
like,
because you're cool,
yeah,
man.
that's right. I try to get in there. That one was amazing, and the guy was like super excited about it. All the people that work there were like very, very excited about it. So that one's going to be great. Fruit Ninja Connect. August
Now,
10th.
is this the last platform to actually get Fruit Ninja? 'Cause isn't this thing everywhere?
I think so. Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
You just kind of cut fruit.
Their big thing was your arms are now blades.
I think we were like showing
For
this
fruit.
at our
People were
booth
saying
at
it was
E3.
really cool
Is
at
that right?
E3, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that
don't.
right? People
I
were
don't.
into it at E3?
Yeah, people were really into it at E3. I heard that from more than one person. That it's like sort of the shock of the show is that it's really fun on Connect.
I
didn't
imagine it
play
would
I
be
didn't get
fun.
a chance to, but
There's a party mode, which I think could be fun. Like doing that with someone else, I think could be a good time. But otherwise, I'm not really.
I mean, conceptually, it doesn't. I wonder how that's going to play out. No, I do actually.
Yeah,
I have
it's
every
gonna look like
idea.
this.
Yeah.
And look, the fruit bisects.
It'd be like tea.
I
Anyway.
hate fruit, so it's great for me.
You do. You do.
I hate the runs.
Much
I'm
bigger
going
than-
after them cantaloupes.
Watermelon's mine. August 17th, we have Toy Soldiers Cold War.
Soldiers was that last year or 2 years
That
ago?
was last year,
That was
2010. The
last year.
first one
That
came
was
out.
last
This one
year.
is set in the 80s and presupposes what if the Cold War kept going?
No one's ever done that before.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
And I don't know much about this one. Jake, do you know? I feel like
I mean, we've seen a little bit of
Yeah.
it, but I mean, it looks Toy Soldiers. If you were kind of a fan of it, which I kind of dig the idea. It's kind of great.
And
to people
this
see
isn't
the
based
board
on the
and stuff,
Toy
so.
Soldiers, the movie that had one of those hobbits in it.
oh,
Remember
yeah.
Sam Gamgee's?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because someone takes
It
over a
was
prep
Sean
school.
Astin's
Oh,
movie before he
yeah,
was
Sean
fired.
Astin.
Martika, there was a Martika song in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that song.
It was like Taps without as many pretty people and completely different.
They took over a military school because
Yeah.
they were being
Yeah,
that's
mistreated.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And
We've
had
Captain
enough.
Picard was in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Like,
you're
he was the
totally right.
headmaster. I've seen that movie.
Now that Martika song's stuck in my
Wow,
head.
someone at Netflix is like, why is this spiking?
You know, I have Martika's Kitchen stuck in my head. Remember that one?
But
Anyway,
then
great game.
If you get all of these, you get something special.
Yeah, if you get all of these, if you buy them all at once before August 23rd, you get Crimson Alliance for free. Otherwise, you have to wait till September 7th. Now, what's interesting is if you don't have a Connect, you should still get all of them because you still save like 400 points, pretty much. But yeah, Crimson Alliance is the free game that you can get if you get all of them.
But you
before
can also
August
just
23rd.
buy Crimson
And
Alliance.
it's starting September 7th. You can't get it otherwise this summer.
Okay, but that means I'd have to get Fruit Ninja Connect. I don't even have a Connect.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But I think about it this way: Fruit Ninja Connect, that's 800, and then when Crimson Alliance comes out, that's 1200.
Imagine there's someone who I want to impress, and he he turns on my Xbox and he finds that I have it.
Yeah.
And our friendship is irreparably harmed because he thinks differently of me because I have.
Well,
Fruit
there's your
Ninja
blurb.
Connect.
You're gonna get-
Your
and
friendships
also,
could be
like,
irreparably harmed.
I mean, what does that say about you that you buy video games to save 400 points? It's
That's true.
It's something you don't want to go down the road.
Wow, this is
Yeah.
interesting. You guys have very strong feelings about this. I was not expecting that at all.
Well, it's one of
I've
those,
been thinking about it all
Yeah,
weekend.
we're both boys who are like this. We like to catalog things too much, and the thing is, if you get a fly in the ointment, it really can undermine the integrity of the bibliography that you've amassed. And it's.
You could just lie and say you had like a niece or nephew come by.
There you go. My cat hit A.
My cat hit it.
Yeah, but I just make him play Limbo. I'm like, kids, that's what happens when you're bad.
Yeah, this is kids. How about
it's-
nightmares for a few weeks? Get into it.
There are some other games that are coming out either this week or next week. Captain America's got a game. He has a movie.
Well, yeah, the same. That's the whole thing is that the week that Summer of Arcade starts, there's a few games being released, but there's not really that many being released that week. Like
Smurfs Dance Party.
Yeah, and I'm pretty excited about that. I gotta say.
Yeah, they're gonna. Is Gargamel there? Because I love.
He's the judge.
He's
No.
the judge.
I have no idea. I don't know anything about Smurfs
Well,
Dance
there's
Party.
so
I'm
funny.
excited.
Some guy in France finally said something that I've always felt since I was a kid, that Gargamel is this really kind of odious, like kind of Shylocky and anti-Semitic like kind of caricature.
He really
He's pretty
is.
gross.
And I was like, it probably took that long in France for them to go like, look, he's got these attributes and he wants to turn them into gold. I mean, like, yeah, and it's from Europe. So
Now, is that a game that you would be embarrassed to have someone see on your collection, Smurfs Dance
Yes.
Party? Yeah, of course.
yeah. I mean, I'll have some silly stuff. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But
What's
that's
the silliest
That's
game
a
you've had?
tie-in to what looks like the single worst movie to come
Oh
out
yeah,
this
this
summer.
movie's going to be terrible. Yeah.
Now, Call of Juarez, the cartel, is coming out, and this one got a little bit of controversy because it's not a Western, takes place in the modern era, and it deals with a lot of the drug gang problems. Given how paranoid usually people are when it comes to things about video games, I still have yet to get a tweet from someone who thinks the arrest of the head of the Zeta gang that just happened in Mexico yesterday wasn't some sort of tie-in for Ubisoft to help promote the game. And I'm a little disappointed that you paranoiacs out there have not thought that this is yet another way to stimulate sales.
Somebody's got to go down for it. Might as well, you know?
This
And
game's weird. Like it's like they did very little to try and stimulate sales. It seems like with this game, like it's just not.
they brought a guy over to my house.
Oh, did they really?
No,
okay,
I'm
well
joking.
then,
I'm joking.
then I'm wrong.
He's like, I'm
No,
not
I
leaving
mean,
until you
it
get
just
the
seems
game.
like there's not a whole lot of.
They could have just grabbed a bunch of
A whole lot
journalists,
of
throw them in a
marketing
trunk,
about
drive them
it,
down to
you
Mexico,
know,
leave them there.
I mean, I'm seeing it with a lot of games. I mean, both Alice Madness Returns and
Shadows
of the Damned.
I've
That was a big
had
one.
non-existent marketing campaigns.
Yeah.
I mean, I only got to see them once before they came out, and that was at an EA-sponsored event in San Francisco around GDC. I mean, it is kind of strange, but. And the fact that this Call of Juarez is so different than the other ones, you might want to use us as the press to kind of say, hey, if you don't like that Western, here's
Check out
a
what we got.
non-Western.
Right.
That's more like something else. I don't know what it is.
It makes you wonder if they just don't have faith in it, or like what the.
But
what
it's the third
I
one.
know. I don't know.
I would
I
have
mean,
expected that around the first one.
I played it at E3.
It's a game.
It's a game. I mean, it's a serviceable.
It's totally
shooter.
a game.
It's-
And then Fallout New Vegas has new DLC.
Yeah.
This thing's going to keep putting out
It is.
DLC forever.
Forever.
It's a DLC
So,
machine.
Just keep giving.
Big world.
So, obviously, as you can see, we are entering into at least a drought-like period for games. So, nothing compared to some years past. How are you biding your time, Jake?
Well, actually, right now, kind of going back, seeing some things that I'd missed. I actually just played Bad Company 2 for the first time,
Oh.
Really?
which I completely missed out on and was just wanted to get up and kind of their flavor of dice. And this, I play for single player, and obviously that's the worst part of the game. But it's a lot of fun, man. Like it's the story is absolutely ridiculous, but when you are kind of in the middle and you can just kind of blow out a wall, it completely changes how you play the game, which is something that I'm looking forward to for
that's cool.
for the new one. But and also Trenched
Yes.
is absolutely
Yes, I am playing quite a bit.
phenomenal. Highly recommend it.
Steven Johnson.
I have been playing Rock Band 3's Pro Keyboard mode, and could play that for as many hours as there are free in the
What's
day.
your favorite song on it?
Unbelievable. I like Love Will Tear Us Apart by, is that Joy Division?
Yeah. I just want you to do
That
some
song is
Captain
great,
and Tennille
'cause
if you're doing the
I would
keyboard
pay
part.
the
I think
$10
it'd be so cool.
to see you do that.
You put the
$10.
put the keyboard on expert and you play the pro keys so that it's the actual chart of the song.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a song you really like, at the end of it, you know how to play that song on keyboard, which is awesome. And it's so incredibly difficult that for that obsessive compulsive part of you that wants to 100% it and is like leaderboards. I'm in like the top 100 of the leaderboard for that particular
Whoa.
song for Love Will Tear Us Apart by Joy Division, which I can listen to as many times as
I
it
could
will
listen
play.
to that song
That
forever,
song is
yeah.
so great. So that's what I've been doing, playing Joy Division on Rock Band 3, and I've also revisited Fallout New Vegas a little bit because I never finished it, and now I'm going back to finish it. So all this sort of summertime lazy kind of games that
exactly.
take forever is what I'm down with this weekend.
Emily?
I'm still playing Shadows of the Damned. I'm still having a great time with that one. A lot of Mortal Kombat story mode. A lot of that.
See, that's what I want to go dip into because, but all that stuff was happening right before
Yeah.
E3 and Mortal Kombat just kind of slipped through some cracks for
And
me.
it's fantastic. The story mode's fantastic. And the more I play it, the more I like it. And I've been playing a lot of Horde mode with friends in both New York and LA. That's kind of how we keep up with each other now.
And I believe it was Mortal Kombat that was the thing that John Stewart showed when he
Yes.
did his
Did he?
rant.
Yes.
Showing how he didn't
Yeah,
understand the
ripped
Supreme
apart.
Court. So, I've been playing Child of Eden because I'm obsessed with this game. And like, I think it's quite hard. I'm quite challenged by it. But my playing it has nothing to do with, like, I want to play more. it's almost like a raw physical need to play this game because there's something to me so satisfying about just the simple interactivity of it. And
So, yeah, it's the meth of
and
games.
that's the thing is that I realize that I play best between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. I seem to be at my most awake, and that anything before that I'm still groggy. Anything after that I'm groggy. And but I'm just really it's just kind of fun. And yeah, I'm going back. I thought maybe I should listen to Kevin Kelly and play Torchlight.
True. He
Okay,
does.
it's fun.
Yes.
Okay, and Trench really is kind of is a kick in the pants as well. But yeah, I'm getting that feeling that in about 3 weeks I'm gonna be like, okay, what do I play now?
Yeah.
So I believe with that we're gonna look for some recommendations from our fine people out there. If you think that we're supposed to be playing something that we're not playing, because we only have each other to rely upon, and I think we've realized that that's limited. And it's and its possibilities.
Very, very
What do you
limited.
mean?
All right. Well, obviously, here during the summer drought, please understand the feedback is like a tall, cool glass of water that will not only refresh you, it will help you live. So make sure you tune in. Feedback goes up every Wednesday. G4TV.com. Good night.
Feedback.
Video games. Hello there. I'm Adam Sessler, host of X-Play, editor-in-chief at G4TV.com. I talk a lot about video games, and sometimes a camera is in front of me when I'm doing that. We call that Sessler's Soapbox. Takes about 2 minutes of your time, but trust me, you will hear invective and joy and probably a lot of rude things like you've never heard before in the context of video games. I do it for you, so you should check it out. It's up every Tuesday on G4TV.com.